Have you ever had this perfect software product, or it could be a hardware software product like a car, work beautifully? You loved it exactly as it was. And then one day you wake up and you try to use it, and you realize that they just installed a software update and everything you loved is gone and everything that you hate is present. My name is Ravi Verma. I want to use the analogy of software updates to offer a different perspective on self help and self improvement. So, let me give you an example. I use an iPhone, and just when I start getting used to a certain set of iPhone features and I start loving so many features, one day Apple decides to install some kind of an update at night. I wake up in the morning and nothing is where I expected it to be. Even simple things like setting an alarm or a timer and turning off an alarm or timer leave me scrambling because my thumb is used to going in a particular place. It worked fine, and now I can't find out what button am I supposed to press. What might be happening here? Chances are that the software development team that was responsible for designing the next set of features, they had good intentions. They were trying to create some kind of improvements based on some feedback or some goals. And so they felt that the previous version was not as good as it might have been. And so they installed an update. How can this help us get a new perspective on self help and self improvement? There are two schools of thought when it comes to human beings. There are two models, and I heard someplace that all models are wrong, some are useful. Let's talk about model number one. This model is called a deficit model. This model says that as a human being, you are fundamentally broken. You are born broken, screwed up, messed up. You need to be fixed. And the goal of these models is to teach you self help and self improvement techniques that help you compensate for your brokenness. And the goal of these models is almost to assume or to believe that you are like an MVP in software terminology, minimum viable product. You're just version one of the software. You're fundamentally broken. You need to keep installing update after update, update after update to fix your brokenness. There is a second model. It's from the Internal Family Systems Institute, and the IFS model created by Dick Schwartz. This model has a completely different mindset. It says you are born whole. There's nothing wrong with you. However, what happened along the way is when you were born, the universe gave you all the capabilities that you needed to navigate life. But along the way, some bad things happened, some trauma happened. When that trauma happened, just imagine that you are like a software product. Some software engineers thought, oh crap, I need to install an update so that the next time some trauma like this happens, we can handle it more gracefully. And so an update was installed on your system. But it had unexpected and unintended effects, consequences. Instead of making the system better, it actually made the system worse. And fast forward 50 years to someone like me, I have had update after update installed on my version 1 software, my version 1 being, which was perfect. But now, updates after updates created by well meaning software teams have brought my system down to a crawling space where the system hangs, it crashes, it doesn't do what I want, nothing is where it is supposed to be, and I'm struggling. So, the IFS model says The job of living your best life is not trying to fix you and your brokenness. The job of living your best life is actually removing the constraints that are stopping you from accessing the power, your best self that you had from the day you were born. So it's more about removing constraints that are stopping you from accessing your power as opposed to fixing your brokenness so you have more power. I found this to be a very liberating perspective because it doesn't shame me for who I am or the challenges I am facing. Instead, it allows me to be curious. I heard somewhere you can't be curious and furious at the same time. So, if I am to switch from being furious at my brokenness and access the curiosity, I must start with love and compassion for myself exactly as I am. And that opens the doorway for me to be curious about the different updates that have been installed, understand the intent of the engineers, and to slowly partner with them to uninstall those updates which are not helping me. I hope you found this useful. If you want help exploring this perspective and applying it to yourself, I'd love to have an exploratory session with you. Please contact me at allwhisperers.com. Until our next conversation, thank you and bye bye.